All right, guys, I'm calling this meeting to
I did
order.
enjoy that.
First order of business is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. And are we actually approving both? The one we had after the... Yeah. So we're actually two. I think it's the one in March as well as the special one we had on April 9th.
Bill,
Yeah.
I think there's either a typo or whatever in the last meeting date, March 27th, 2017.
Duly noted.
That sounds like a typo.
Call it what you wish.
Oh, we've been amended.
No, I don't think we have any time machines, so I think that was a typo. Okay, so we'll change that.
Yep.
Any other comments on the minutes? Can we approve the minutes with that one change?
As amended.
As amended? Yep, all right. I think that was all.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay, the first item, the local law D for 2018, a local law for the County of Albany, New York, amending local law 5 for 2016 regarding the Sustainable Energy Loan Program. We need to table that because the hearing is tonight, correct?
you. That is correct.
Yes. So,
Table request to sponsor.
what's that?
Table request to sponsor.
Tabled at the request of the sponsor. Thank you. The second item is resolution number 180, public hearing on the proposed local law number J for 2018. Sam, do you want to say anything?
Happy to say a few words on this. This law would require all petroleum storage tanks in the county to be painted white. This is because darker colors attract more heat, which means more pollution. Air pollution goes into the atmosphere. And in the southern end of the city of Albany, there's a especially serious problem regarding this where a lot of the residents, many who live in public housing, forced to breathe in a lot of air pollution from petroleum storage tanks as well as many other industrial sites in that area. So this is proposing this in order to help alleviate the toxic air that residents in the county are forced to breathe in.
And to clarify, this is not all tanks. This is specific tanks to the port.
This would be all tanks in Albany County above a certain capacity.
500,000 gallons.
500,000 gallons, so large storage tanks. It's generally an industry practice to paint them white. So I think it's reasonable for all of them to be painted white. In the port, near the Port of Albany, where the ones that I referenced are located, there are 4 tanks that are painted blue.
I'll just add, there's another issue here, and that is the reason you vent these tanks to begin with is the volatiles in the products can combust depending on the temperature. And I got involved in looking at this issue when I was concerned about the Pilgrim Pipeline and the oil coming from the Bakken fields, which is very, very extremely high volatility index. So when those come to the port, they are more explosive than other oils that we might have traditionally put in some of the tanks in the county. So it was there was more of a safety issue with it than there was before. And specifically, some of these tanks down in the south end are the ones that were getting some of that high volatility index product. So there's a safety issue as well as the issue of are they venting or not.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And I think major issue is, I don't think anyone here at this table would like to live with giant oil storage tanks behind them. I think the very least we can do is require them to be painted white so that less pollution comes out of them.
Did someone check on the capacity of those tanks, that they meet the criteria here?
Yes, they do. I believe this is a 500,000 gallon capacity. I believe that they are 1 million gallons each. So I'd have to double check on that.
Are there any other tanks in the county you can think of that meet the 500,000?
Not that I'm aware of, but I can look into that. Most of the oil storage facilities are located at or near the Port of Albany because it comes in by rail there.
What about the chain cars that are all black? how do they vote? Should they be white also?
Maybe they should be. Unfortunately, the federal government regulates the trains, so we can't do anything there. But that's
They just sit there in the middle of 787 just, fermenting.
the problem is, there's the trains that come in
And venting.
every day,
And venting.
and there's the about 1,000 diesel-powered trucks that drive by on South Pearl Street, these homes every day. So people live, and then there's a number of industrial sites. So people live there, forced to breathe in a number of, different toxic chemicals and pollution. And these are mostly people, low-income people in public housing, so they don't really have a choice where they live. They don't have the ability to just get up and move.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, just from a legal perspective, I assume there'll be a secret analysis with this, so, and because there are, this is an area that's regulated by the federal government, painting of tanks is regulated, so I assume that when the secret comes out, that there'll be a further analysis and some of the questions that were raised.
We probably should have a secret for this. I mean, although it could be a simple form, because what we're basically doing is reducing emissions. It's not like we're generating new emissions that have to be analyzed, but.
Yeah, my understanding of SECRA is that you'd want to do it on a project that could potentially have a negative environmental impact, right? Like if you're building a project and there could be contamination.
It's any
but-
project, it's whether it has a positive or negative impact, but also there are other interested agencies, because
Okay.
I believe tanks are regulated, as Mr. Camiso had indicated. I mean, I think that they're regulated by the federal government, and it was raised in one of the previous committees that there was a question as to federal preemption of the area by Legislator Flanagan. But I would assume all that would come out in a secret analysis anyway. So.
Yes, we could do that. We could also get an opinion from the county attorney. Brandon, do you have an opinion on SECRA?
I can't opine on that right now, but if you'd like an opinion from the county attorney, we can request one.
Okay.
Who determines the lead agency on a case like this? Who would determine the need for a SECRA and/or the detail of that SECRA? For example, the full EIS, a short form, that kind of thing.
That's a good question. Does anyone know?
Conservation Department. I think it's handled through planning and those conservation, but there are internal mechanisms, because obviously when the construction projects are done by the county, they're fully secret to go through the bonding processes, et cetera. So there is a process in place in the county to handle secret. And I don't exactly know who and what, when, where, and how it would start, but I would assume that by discussions with the executive branch, they could guide the secret analysis.
So,
We can run that down a lot if that's the avenue we wanted to start at here.
yeah, we'd like to look into if a SECRA is necessary. If so, request one, and we will request a opinion from the county attorney as well. But in the meantime, I'd like to move the public hearing out. I plan on tabling, of course, the local law, but I'd like to move the public hearing out, give the public an opportunity to speak on this while we,
Can we have a public hearing if we still need to look into the question of SECRA, or do we have to table the public hearing for purposes of determining the SECRA?
You could have a public hearing, but given the questions that you're looking for, you may want to table it for a month, but that's your prerogative.
Well, can you tell me what the trade-offs are? If we don't table, we're ultimately going to have to put off the vote on the measure until we get these answers.
That's correct.
Mr. Chairman, it just seems logical to me that you would not have the public hearing until you have the seeker, because the public may want to weigh in on the information that may be contained within the seeker. If you don't do that, I think that you're opening yourself up to a subsequent public hearing.
Yeah. I think I agree with Richard. So I think we're gonna have to table, but we need a motion.
Well, unless the sponsor can table it if he chooses, otherwise it would require a motion.
hoping to move it forward. So you think that we cannot have if we have a public hearing and then a secret comes out, that we need another public hearing?
The whole intent of having a public hearing is so that people can weigh in on the facts of the resolution or the local
Yes.
law. if they don't have the information on the seeker, how could they possibly weigh in? This would potentially be all new information, and to not provide them the opportunity to comment on it, I think would be deficient on our part of having a transparent process.
Also, Sam, I want to add to what Richard said, is I think that, in fact, what will happen is if we wait and we have the secret done first, what we will get is more information justifying the action that you want to take.
Sure, we can
Because
take,
what we
yeah.
will do is we will find that there are environmental benefits, most likely. If we
Yes.
find there are not environmental benefits, then why are we doing it? But I suspect we will find that there are.
Yes.
And so it's information that actually will reinforce the case of doing it. So, but Richard's point then is what we want here is the transparency. And-
Sure.
And so we will wait for that, and then I think we'll end up with better information justifying the action that we want to take.
Sure, I'm happy to table, and we can request a seeker. Actually, I'd like to request information on whether or not a seeker is necessary. Then if a seeker is necessary, then we'll request a seeker.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, item,
Just one more on that.
Yeah.
Would you consider any type of creativity and art on those?
Well,
I would.
I just,
I would,
you got a month.
I like,
got a month.
I like
Just throw it out there,
the,
too.
I like the idea of having art, although I wouldn't want to add darker colors that would then attract more heat and, take away from the purpose of this law.
Just throwing it out there. It may be something for you to consider.
I think public art is a good thing, and I think the people living there would probably like to see art, but at the same time, the purpose of this law is to reduce pollution, so if the art would do the opposite of that, then,
I'm not
Yeah.
only
an
pastel
artist with
covers that are.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
colors that
you
will
may
not
want to
absorb
consider
water.
that.
if there was a way,
That's all I'm suggesting.
I think it's a good suggestion,
If
thank
we-
you.
Any art.
Travis, if we do go with art, I think we have to make sure that the South End residents get first crack at the art.
Sure.
I'm just proposing to the sponsor that he, if he so chose, he could consider art as a possibility, creative art.
I'll look into it and see if there's a way to do it where we're not
All right,
increasing pollution.
now, item three, we need to table, the hearing is tonight, isn't it?
No, it's a request to sponsor.
Oh, it will be, okay, I'm sorry. It'll be at the request of sponsor, and it's, yeah. So is there, do we need a motion?
No.
No? Okay, so we're going to table that. Public hearing on proposed modification to agricultural district.
Good evening. As part of our annual agricultural district review process, we hold a public hearing to accept comment on the proposed modifications to the district. There's a proposed addition of 264.5 acres in the towns of Knox Burns, Gibbons, and Huntsville.
Anybody have questions?
Motion.
Well, I actually have one question. I was giving everyone else a chance to ask it first. You had one case where you suggested not giving them.
Yes.
Can you just explain that? That's pretty rare, isn't it?
It happens every once in a while. The person had submitted an application when we had a display at the Altamont Fair, and they had said that they had chickens, I think. We do review every parcel proposed for addition, and when we went out to the property, myself and Tom Gallagher from Cooperative Extension, we found that it was just a residential property and they did not have any agricultural activities going on there. It was a small
So I-
lot. So
Were the chickens all in the freezer? Did I hear that?
so that's what,
I think that's probably a justification to say no. All right. Any other questions? Do we have a motion? Second? All right. Frank, motion. Sam, second. All in favor?
Aye.
I think Frank wants to suggest we adjourn.
Well, hold on.
You say so, Bill.
Do we? Oh, we didn't have the vote. Sorry. Got a vote. I thought we did have the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now, I'm sorry. Frank, you want to suggest we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good.